Commissioner Giacomo, and Commissioner Honeyfield.
Here.
Will you all please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'd like to welcome everybody here tonight. Thank you for being here, and thank you to those who are online. Our next regular commission meeting will be Tuesday, October 14th at 6 p.m. Mr. Mestis, do we have any new employees this evening?
Yes, Mayor Pro Tem, Deputy Chief.
Thank you, sir. Good evening. On behalf of the Raton Police Department, I'd like to introduce our newest employee, Miss Jeannie Gonzalez, who filled Adela Garcia's spot for the records custodian. Welcome aboard.
Thank you.
This is her fifth week, and she's doing very good, very well for us.
I'm very glad to have you.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Deputy Chief.
Yes, ma'am.
You good? That's it? Okay. Next, we have item 5, committee reports from commission. Commissioner Honeyfield. Commissioner Schuster.
All right, I was just making notes, but the New Mexico Municipal League Convention, which both Mayor Pro Tem and City Manager Rick Mestis attended along with me, was held September 16th through the 18th. I'm sure everybody's got a little note on because there's so much to do, but it was very interesting, very informative. I stayed late for voting, which was also relatively low on how to do voting. There wasn't a lot to vote on this year except for new positions in the municipal league and some cleanup of language in their procedures, and so it was easy to get through. And they also had a pretty good way of voting that I was going to share with Mr. Mestis on different things if we needed to do any mass voting. Anyway, that interfered with both Mayor Pro Tem and I attending the water board, which was September 12th, the day we had to leave to get to the municipal league. The highlights of that is the filter plant production for August was 30.1 milligrams with a peak flow of 1.3 mgds and 11.4 mg from Eagle Nest. The Water Trust Board application for Lake Maloya is complete and has been submitted. Cimarron system communication has been restored. There's been trouble with that on and off through the summer, and we're back to pumping. So that's pretty much the highlights. I was able to attend the another missed meeting was the Lodgers Tax Board, but I was able to attend the Colfax County Senior Citizens Board meeting this morning. They had some discussion items. They just went through an audit and they an inspection, and they did relatively well with that, but they still haven't gotten the final report from that committee, from the AAA. They did approve a budget, and the RFP for is due in November, and the executive director will get that put in. That's pretty much all I have.
Thank you. As for me, as Commissioner Schuster mentioned, we missed the water board meeting, but we do meet monthly on third Tuesdays right here in the commission chambers at 5 p.m. if anyone would like to attend. Those are open to the public. I had quite a few meetings with the North Central New Mexico Economic Development District in the last month. The executive committee met on August 28th and September 11th. The New Mexico CARES Board met August 28th and September 23rd, and the full North Central Board met on August 28th as well. We are working with a new executive director, Santiago Chavez. There's lots of work going on with budgets, contracts, policies, and the transition to the new executive director. The full board had presentations on economic outlook done by the Federal Reserve Bank of Kansas City, which centered on interest rates, tariffs, and carryover effects into the public and private sectors. Not always the most exciting news, but important for us to understand. They also had presentations, I only got to hear part of it, on the New Mexico Eviction Prevention and Diversion Strategic Plan. If anyone's interested, I pulled some information from them. You can just contact me and I'll get you a copy. And then the Comprehensive Economic Development Strategy, or CEDS, which they're finishing up that process for our region. The Restoring Our Communities Housing Program is underway here in Raton. Scott Berry is working with that program, not affiliated with the city. The AAA, or the Area Agency on Aging Annual Conference, is going on this week in Glorieta, and that's why our mayor is not here tonight. Our next meetings are going to be October 23rd in Santa Fe. I am on the Raton-Clayton Interchange Exit 451 Bridge Artwork Committee. We met August 28th. The artwork designs were at 60%. I think everyone's going to be excited when you see them. We have some incredible artists doing the bridge artwork for the north-south traffic on I-25, and then another artist is working on branded monument signage and actual monuments that are going to be on the east-west on the top of the bridge on 8764. The wing walls will feature, which is kind of as you're coming under the bridge, the walls that kind of come out at an angle. So the wing walls will have, one will have a bear, one will have an elk, one will have an antelope, and one a mountain lion. And the interior walls, one side will have a wagon and both of them have a lot of landscape, and the other side has a train as part of it. All of it reflects our logo and brand and colors. It's really dynamic. There will be informational flyers, mailers, social media blasts, and project website postings in mid-October. I will try to make sure that people know about that. The engineers are also providing this 3D rendering, which is pretty cool. It's like you're on the road, like driving through the bridge. It's pretty impressive. And a flyby video. Once engineering is finalized, then the artwork actually gets constructed in these forms, and that would go to bid in the early spring of 2026 for anyone that does that kind of work. I did meet with partners from the Thriving Communities Grant and the Ports to Plains Committee on September 2nd, along with our city manager. It was a discussion to see about potential collaboration opportunities between the two organizations. I think there's going to be some good collaboration there. The next Climax Canyon Trails public meeting is coming up October 6th, 6 p.m. at City Hall, and I've been helping out with that project. It's been a busy month. I attended the New Mexico Outdoor Economics Conference in Gallup, September 9th and 10th. I took extensive notes, which I already passed along to staff, way too much to talk about tonight. But overall, I would say there was some really great networking opportunities with the government entities and organizations and some entrepreneurs doing some exciting things in outdoor recreation. And I also had a very detailed list of potential funding sources for outdoor projects, and connected with the Rocky Mountain Youth Corps rep, who would really love to work with us whenever we're ready to build trails. That's a great program. I also got to enjoy a beautiful sunrise hike at Church Rock, and I just want to say, for anyone going through Gallup, I highly recommend their cultural center. They have an incredible museum and art gallery upstairs in their train station with a multifaceted history of Gallup, and it was fantastic. And then I was at the Municipal League Conference in Ruidoso, September 16th through 18th. We had a rocking speaker. We all got drumsticks and had this crazy re-energizing presentation. It was very encouraging, but he encouraged us to embrace a rock star mindset when planning for the city. I did find the planning and zoning presentation to be the most valuable. It was very applicable to public comment on any topic and stressed proper decorum of elected officials and the decision-making process that we should be using, which is based on information, logic, and the best good for the city as a whole. We were encouraged to apply for the Water Trust Board, which we have as a city, and then we were also encouraged to use the New Mexico Self-Insurers Fund for a variety of needs, from law enforcement with their Lexipol system, which is free for us for law enforcement, and a lot of different emergency needs. They did have a huge presentation on the Ruidoso recovery and flooding and the ongoing flooding after the fires and everything that those that community has been going through. It was very impressive, and the Municipal League was there and has been there multiple times with communication systems, helping get different high water rescue vehicles and different things that are helping them with that. So we are very, I think, blessed to have the New Mexico Self-Insurers Fund as part of our resources as well. And I know they've helped with Red River and their tough times as well. And that's what I had there. So let's move on to item 6, items from citizens present. Anyone here is welcome to address the commission. We ask that you keep it brief, and if it is something already on the agenda, that you wait until that time. But right now, if anyone would like to address us, you have that time. Okay, seeing none, we'll move on to section 7, action items and public hearings, ordinances, resolutions, etc. So item A, deliberate and act on approval of September 9th, 2025 regular meeting minutes. If there is nothing to add, the minutes will stand approved as presented. Any amendments or corrections? No. Okay. All right, the minutes will stand approved as presented. Item B, public hearing, deliberate and act on ordinance 1032 relating to the sale of public property within the city of Raton to BTU Block and Concrete. Mr. Mestis?
Mayor Pro Tem and Commission, in your packet is ordinance number 1032, which authorizes the sale of city-owned property to BTU Block and Concrete for purposes aligned with the local economic development. This ordinance complies with 2024 New Mexico Statute, Chapter 3, Municipalities, Article 54, Sale or Release of Property, Section 3-54-1, titled Authority to Sell or Release Municipal Facilities or Real Property, which permits municipalities to dispose of real property not needed for public purposes. As a reminder, from the August 26th Commission meeting in 1985, BTU Block and Concrete requested a series of variances and setbacks from the City of Raton Planning and Zoning Board. This culminated on December 27th, 1988, with the Raton City Commission approving a vacation of property beginning at the southern 154.8 feet of South First Street and the eastern 40 feet of South First Street from the southern boundary of Cimarron Avenue north for approximately 671.84 feet. The motion was carried and the city clerk was also authorized the quitclaim deed. While this created two problems, first, the city never issued the quitclaim deed, and second, the transaction violated the State Anti-Donation Act. In consultation with our attorney and attorney with the Municipal League, we have been advised that we have an obligation to rectify previous commission errors. This ordinance will solidify property ownership and the sale that has been properly noticed, and this public hearing is being held to ensure transparency and allow for community input. The city recommends you vote in the affirmative on this action.
Thank you. This is a public hearing. If anyone is here to speak on this matter, we invite you to come forward. And as Mr. Mista said, we did already discuss this previously at our last meeting in August. Okay, seeing none?
Okay, I will move to approve ordinance number 1032 relating to the sale of public property within the city of Raton to BTU Block and Concrete.
I'll second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? May I have a roll call vote on this, please?
Yes, ma'am. Mayor Pro Tem Chatterley,
Yes.
Commissioner Schuster,
Yes.
and Commissioner Honeyfield.
Yes.
All right, motion carries. Thank you. We'll move on to item C, introduction of ordinance regulating adult entertainment establishments in the city of Raton. Mr. Mestis?
Mayor Pro Tem and Commission, this actually goes back over 20 years. In your packet is a proposed ordinance introducing regulatory standards for adult entertainment established in the city of Raton. This ordinance is intended to protect public health, safety, and welfare by establishing zoning, licensing, and operational restrictions consistent with the city's police powers under New Mexico Statute 1978, Section 3-17-1. This introduction begins the formal process towards adopting. The city recommends you vote on the affirmative on this action. And just a side note, Mayor Pro Tem, the city has had a number of inquiries from businesses to, that are interested in opening up adult entertainment. The city felt that we need to address this because while this was introduced, 23 years ago, nothing was ever passed, and there was nothing restricting that. Therefore, we feel very strongly that we need to act now.
Thank you. Any comments or questions from the commission?
I do have a question. See, that's plural, several businesses.
Well, I don't know, businesses, yes, I don't have the exact number, but more, plural, yes, more than one.
Okay. Interesting.
And this is an introduction of an ordinance. We will still have after this a public hearing session and completion, so. I would entertain a motion to introduce if the commission so wishes.
I will move to introduce the ordinance relating to adult entertainment establishments in the city of Raton.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Roll call as well, I imagine, with an ordinance. We'll go ahead and introduce.
Okay, sure.
Let's just do it.
Mayor Pro Tem Chatterley,
Yes.
Commissioner Schuster,
Yes.
and Commissioner Honeyfield.
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you. Item D, deliberate and act on Resolution 2025-55, a temporary moratorium on the issuance of business licenses for adult entertainment establishments pending the adoption of ordinance regulating such uses. Mr. Mestis.
Mayor Pro Tem and Commission, in your packet is Resolution 2025-55, which imposes a temporary 90-day moratorium on the issuance of business licenses for adult entertainment established. This action is a precautionary measure to prevent unregulated development while the proposed ordinance is under consideration. As a statutory municipality in New Mexico, a moratorium is permitted if existing land use regulations are inadequate to prevent serious public harm. This resolution is authorized under the city's powers and is designed to maintain orderly development during the regulation process. The city recommends you vote in the affirmative on this action.
Thank you. Any comments or questions from the commission?
I will move to approve resolution number 2025-55.
Second.
All right, I have a motion and a second to adopt Resolution 2025-55. Any further discussion? All in favor, please vote by the sign of aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item E, introduction of ordinance, repeal of section 70.999C regarding municipal court traffic safety and community correction fees. Mr. Mestis?
Mayor Pro Tem and Commission, in your packet is an ordinance proposing the repeal of Section 70-99C of the City Code, which pertains to municipal court traffic safety and community correction fees. The repeal aligns with recent legal interpretations of allowable court-imposed fees under state laws and ensures compliance with updated judicial guidelines. This was introduced last year, but was not voted on by the commission due to an administrative error. The city recommends you vote on an affirmative on this action, and so we're reintroducing this again.
Yeah, I thought we had voted on it.
We did.
Yeah.
So this is the introduction of the ordinance, and then,
Okay.
okay, and we will have a public hearing. Okay.
I'll move to approve the introduction of the ordinance to repeal section 70.999C regarding municipal court traffic safety and community corrections fees.
All right, I have a motion and a second to introduce this ordinance. Desiree, can we have a roll call as well?
Yes, ma'am.
Mayor Pro Tem Chatterley,
Yes.
Commissioner Schuster,
Yes.
and Commissioner Honeyfield.
Thank you. Motion carries. Moving on, item F, report, Center for Community Innovation, Skillsharp biannual report. Do you want to introduce us, Mr. Messer? No, you're fine. You're fine.
Mayor Pro Tem and Commission, tonight we have a biannual report from the Center for Community Innovation regarding the Skillshop Workforce Development Initiative. The report outlines performance metrics, community impact, and strategic goals for the next period. Without further ado, Tricia.
Thank you. Good evening, Commission. I am excited to give our update for our biannual. So I want to start first. Normally we start with Skillshare, but I want to start with our HiSET program, which is tacked onto our Skillshare program as kind of a funnel. And so Skillsharp is the ending part of the funnel. We'll begin with HiSET. So with HiSET, we have had actually a great interest in the last year that we have ever had. So in total, we've had 16 people enroll into our HiSET program since January, and they've been slowly completing tests as they should. And as of today, we have had four people, that is incorrect, four diplomas given out within the last 3-4 months. And it's really it's a good, awesome opportunity because it's showing, one, that people are taking interest. They're using all of our partnerships with Luna Community College as well as our volunteer tutors. And so you'll see that we have had, like I said, 4 who have graduated with their diplomas. Next, they are moving into, we kind of have a resource hub here at the center where we put them into Skillsharp classes so that they can get their resume built up. Some of them have been working, service jobs since, they can, remember 10, 15 years. And so putting them in that Skillsharp program really helps them get those skills that they need now that they have their high school diploma to kind of get a different job. So it's been really great, and you'll see, the subjects that have been passed and completed. A couple of our success stories is that we actually created a partnership with Eagle Nest Regeneration Center. They've been busing a lot of their clients to Taos and Las Vegas, and they figured, hey, we know that there is a testing center in Raton, let's connect. And so we have got probably about five to 7 people in the pipeline to get their HiSET. They're ready to test. So that's the cool part, is that they do a lot of the tutoring there. We've also patched them through to Luna just in case if they just get tapped out with all of their services there and their tutors get a little bit weary. We told them, hey, come over to Raton, we'll fill your needs. And so it's really great. We're also connecting, once again, those people in with the Workforce Development Center here as well. Additionally, we have renewed our agreements with Luna Community College. They provide all of the HiSET test prep. We ourselves cannot tutor unless unless one of us is a proctor. So we have to get volunteer tutors. And so Luna's been filling that gap for us for the last 3-4 years, and they've been really great with Duncan Ware. And he right now is at the center tutoring several people. So it's been really great. He also has a great program. Luna has access to a program called Essential Ed. And what that is, it's an online program where he can register people for free using Luna Community College's fund to basically get tutoring online through their, GED, HiSET, it's kind of the same thing. But it's just a lot of online tutorials. It's not actual tutor. So if he can't tutor, he'll put them in there. So we have a lot of people within that. And that is all that we have for HiSET. Additionally, for Skillsharp, right now, the topics that are currently enrolled and the most popular, we have a lot of people taking Excel classes. They want to know how to use QuickBooks, be HR professionals. Maybe that they couldn't hire a bookkeeper. A lot of businesses in town are kind of having that problem in general. So we have a lot of business owners in those specific skill tracks. Administrative professional. One that has become increasingly popular within the last year is medical coding. We've always had it, but no one's really taken advantage of it. So we have a couple people taking our medical coding right now who are really close to getting their certifications. So they're right there. They're kind of dipping their toe in it, seeing where they're at, seeing how their testing and their scores are. We also have a lot of interest in AI. So people are trying to figure out how to utilize that right now in their daily jobs, also with owning their businesses. Also a lot of project management. A lot of people don't realize that when owning a business or running a nonprofit, they don't know how much project management is involved, how they have to talk to stakeholders. Been really great. Our interest in Skillsharp has actually been slow for the summer because there was an update to the metrics program license. So several of those tutorials, some of the major ones have been retired that we normally get a lot of traffic for people signing up for those registering. And so we anticipate a more wave of interest in September now that summer's over and it's fall and people are ready to get back to work. Also, I did add this into this in the next agenda item. We're going to ask for a renewal on our contract, but we are actually going after a certificate to become a certification testing center with Pearson VUE. They provide official certifications for a slew and a plethora of things, and to become a testing center, clients will come down, and normally they're going to Las Vegas, they're going to Albuquerque, they're going to Springs. So we're smack dab in the middle where we'll get all of those people who don't want to travel so far. And the plan is that every time that they pay their proctoring fee, a big portion of that proctoring fee will go to the center, which will help us generate some revenue. So we're really excited about that. We're really close to applying for our certification. And so what the plan is, once we get that going, medical coding, we could be having official medical coding certifications at the center within the next 6 months. So it'll be really fun. We have a few success stories. We have helped one client. We do a lot of resume building work with clients in the area. I did have a client call this last week, and we helped her build her resume, tidy it up. She's been an RN for 30 years already, but she hasn't had an updated resume, so it was really nice as we got to sit down with her, show her how some digital literacy skills within the computer lab, and we got her a new home health professional job and a new resume. So that was really fun to have people come in, thank us for our work. They tried tipping us, but we don't need that. Like I said, we do have actually a couple clients pursuing their medical coding. We also have been having people use our computer lab for career and educational purposes. We've had 3 or 4 students come in to fill out their FAFSA, apply for colleges using our computer lab. And then we did have one graduate through OSHA training using our computer lab in July, so that was really exciting for him. And then you'll see that I did attach a screenshot of our top 5 courses for Skillsharp that are being utilized, as well as our top 10 tracks. And those tracks are basically kind of garnered collaboration of how people can get some certifications to put on their resume. And that is all that I have for right now. Other than that, within the last 6 months, we have given out 86 certifications and graduations. And then for HiSET, like I said, we have had 4 diplomas, 4 diplomas. That is all they have. Thank you.
That's great. What's the best way for someone to contact you if they're interested in getting going with this program?
They will need to connect with Anita, and they'll give her a phone call at 575-245-9000 or email her at anita@centerci. She is in the office from 8 a.m. until 3 p.m. most days. So she is there, she's available, and she always takes walk-ins. So
Thank you, that's wonderful.
thank you.
Any comments or questions from the commission on that?
Thank you for adding in Pearson.
I'm excited about that.
Exciting.
I would have loved to have taken my certification testing there all those years ago.
Thank you.
Well, I say stay there because they're
Yeah, I'll
the
stay
next,
there.
right? We'll move on to item G, deliberate and act on Center for Community Innovation Subcontractor Agreement. Again, we'll let Mr. Mestis introduce it.
Mayor, Pro Tem and Commission, in your packet is a subcontractor agreement between the City of Raton and the Northeast New Mexico Education Foundation. The agreement defines deliverables and responsibilities for third-party service providers, supporting training and job placement services. Approval ensures proper contract oversight and grant compliance. The city recommends you vote in affirmative on this action.
Thank you. Tricia, did you want to add anything about this?
No, same amount as last year. We're still trucking along. We have applied for an additional 2 more grants. Hopefully those come down the pipeline, but our plan is with this Pearson VUE Testing Center, we did add that into the contract that we are pursuing that. And the plan is to, so like I said, we used to have this a full-time position. Now it's part-time with the city's funding. So having Pearson VUE come in could help supplement that instead of waiting on grants to come through so that we can have a little bit of seed money, if anything.
I love that
So,
strategy.
yes.
Any questions or comments on the subcontract agreement?
I will move to approve the Center for Community Innovation Subcontractor Agreement.
A motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor, please vote by the sign of aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Patricia.
Thank you so much.
Valuable work. We'll move on to item H, deliberate and act on event form for the Raton Main Street Downtown Safe Trick or Treat on October 31st, 2025. Mr. Mestis?
Mayor Pro Tem and Commission, in your packet is the event form requesting approval for the annual Raton Main Street Downtown Safe Trick or Treat scheduled for October 31st, 2025. This community event promotes a safe, family-friendly Halloween festivities in the downtown district and requires city coordination for traffic control and public safety. I would like to note that we do not have the certificate of liability yet, so I ask for your approval contingent upon receiving the certificate.
Thank you. Brenda, did you want to say anything? You're here, so if you would like.
I ran to get here.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. This is one of our very popular events for all of our kiddos in town, and it's a safe way that they can do their trick-or-treating. And, you know, they end up getting so much from all of our merchants that most of them don't even go around to the neighborhoods in the evenings. Between Desiree and I don't know what we did. I thought we had the insurance in place. We got to looking at it. No, it wasn't complete. So I've reached out to Mark at Park Avenue Insurance, and we'll have it by the end of this week. The right form. Yes. But we always have insurance. We want to keep everybody
No,
protected.
I do have to say that we end up with too much candy left over at our house.
Okay. Come set up a little table. And I want to invite all the merchants to set up a table outside your store, and others that aren't in the downtown district, come out, set up a table in front of a empty building, and you can do it as well. First Street, Second Street, all of the avenues, some even on Third Street. And then it ends at the Elks Lodge, and we feed them a hot dog and give them some punch.
Right here, I'll plug in the Growing Great Kids who usually set up a table and give away books
Yes.
as well as candy.
Absolutely. And you can give whatever you'd like. I know a specific business that's going to give out pencils and erasers this year. So anything, yeah.
It's a great event, and I love watching the kids downtown with this.
It's really fun.
Yeah, when my kids were younger, they loved the distance to candy ratio, as they call it. You go very far for the
I love it.
loot you get, so.
I love it.
Any questions or comments?
I will move to approve the event form for the Raton Main Street Downtown Safe Trick or Treating on October 31st, contingent upon receiving the certificate
Second.
of liability. Sorry.
All right, we have a motion and a second to approve the event form. Any further discussion? All in favor, please vote by the sign of aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Item I, deliberate and act on Lodgers Tax Advisory Board recommendation, Raton Community Development Collaborative by Paul Jenkins. Mr. Mestis.
Mayor Pro Tem and Commission, in your packet is a funding recommendation from the Lodgers Tax Advisory Board for support of the Raton Community Development Collaborative as presented by Paul Jenkins. The proposal is for $900 for a Raton Your Pass to Adventure tab on the Ratonian link. This action is consistent with the authorized use of Lodgers tax funds and supports tourism-related economic development initiative. The city recommends you vote in the affirmative on this action.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from the commission?
I guess I'm not familiar with this website per se.
The
The
Ratonian.
Ratonian, it's a local online newspaper.
It was started by, under a different ownership, and now it's transferred to Paul Jenkins and his group. If I understand it right, I believe that's
Correct.
So this publication is only active from October through June?
And it is,
Yes.
it's,
I think it says they're asking for $900 for a 6-month advertising, is what it sounds like. But
Right,
it's,
I
it's
think-
up all the time.
I think the publication is, yeah, I think that's on all the time.
I think that's a typo, is it June 2026?
Yeah, that should be 2026.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There's a typo, it should be to June 2026.
Okay. Anything further?
I will move to approve the Lodge's Tax Advisory Board recommendation to, for Raton Community Development Collaborative with Paul Jenkins.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. All in favor, please vote by the sign of aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Item J, deliberate and act on resolution 2025-56, participation in Transportation Project Fund Program administered by the New Mexico Department of Transportation. Mr. Mestis.
Mayor Pro Tem and Commission, in your packet is Resolution 2025-56, which authorizes the city's participation in the New Mexico Department of Transportation Project Fund Program. This resolution is required for a total project cost of $594,232, with New Mexico DOT's share of 95% at $564,520.40, and the city matching at 5%, $29,711.60. Eligibility formalizes the city's commitment to the scope, matching funds, and maintenance responsibilities, and this is to apply citywide chip seal, and the city recommends you vote in the affirmative on the section.
Is this, I thought I read somewhere it's coming from general fund reserves, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. I was just a comment that as our gas tax decreases and we don't have enough to make these matches, that we might consider budgeting that for next fiscal year. Any comments from the commission?
No.
It's a good deal with them, the 95.5 match.
All right. I will move to approve resolution number 2025-56, participation in the Transportation Project Fund Program administered by New Mexico Department of Transportation.
All right, I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All right, all in favor, please vote by the sign of aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to item K, deliberate and act on resolution 2025-57 concerning a dangerous building or premises and requiring removal located at 1010 South 2nd Street. Mr. Mestis.
Mayor Pro Tem and Commission, in your packet is Resolution 2025-57, declaring the property at 1010 South 2nd Street as a dangerous building under the City of Raton's nuisance ordinance in State of New Mexico, 1978, Section 3-18-5. The resolution directs abatement and removal of the unsafe structure in the interest of public safety. The property owner has been notified in accordance with due process requirements. The city recommends you vote in the affirmative on this action.
Thank you. We have some city staff here to.
Yeah. I'm Mac McGarry, Code Enforcement Officer. Be happy to answer any questions about the property. I also brought some pictures as well if you'd like to consider those.
That'd be great, yeah.
Okay.
if you wanna ask this one. Any questions, comments, or information?
This is the property that's formerly known as Millie's Market.
No.
No.
Spanish bungalows.
Spanish bungalow, the white building,
Okay.
long white building.
The long white building next
Oh.
to,
Oh, okay, I thought we
Thank
were
you.
going to take this one. Okay.
The Spanish bungalow was going through the EPA.
I have received complaints from the property owner next door about this multiple times.
Yes, I've received multiple complaints about this building as well.
It is an eyesore, for sure.
I bet it has an interesting history though.
Any questions for Mac about this project?
Have they, the neighboring property owner, have they agreed to allow access to this? Because I know at the time it was foreclosed by the bank that it severed the access to this thing.
I don't know that information. I do know that You mean to just access the property? Yeah.
There is not a public street access to this now.
Okay. I'm not sure about that.
So the
Yeah.
fellow to the south
Jag, yeah.
Jag, yeah.
is restricted access to this thing. I don't know. If you demolish it, you're lifting it over the city sidewalk and curb.
That'd be a good conversation to have. I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah. That
I
would-
know he would like to have it removed, so maybe he would be amenable to that.
Right, exactly. Yeah, I'll have to talk, we'll have to talk about that and figure out a path forward to work with him. Like you said, I think he would be amenable to it, given the nature of the building, and it's an eyesore, and it's gotten to the point where it's now a dangerous building. You can see the holes in the roof and the bricks that are falling off, and it's not secured anymore, so there's homeless ingressing and egressing. But thank you for bringing that up, Commissioner Honeyfield. I'll follow up on that.
Anything further from the commission? Anything else you would like to add, Mac?
Just that we made every effort to deal with the owner. There was a dialogue going on, but at a certain point, it just kind of stopped. And so we, did everything we could to avoid this. But this is the situation that the owners put us in. So.
Because Mac, what was the plans? Because when they bought this from Casados, was he planning on developing it, or?
Yeah, I spoke to him on the phone, and his plan was turned into a fourplex. By trade, he owns a roofing company in Denver, and so he was planning on coming down and re-roofing it, I believe last summer, and that never, or 2 summers ago, that never happened. And then we kind of just were like, okay, what's your plan? And he stopped responding, and then I came on board, and he was responding a little bit to me, and but that just kind of stopped. So.
Interesting.
I would entertain a motion if.
I will move to approve resolution 2025-57 concerning a dangerous building or premises and requiring removal located at 1010 South Second Street.
I'll second.
All right, I have a motion and a second to adopt resolution 2025-57 regarding the dangerous building at 1010 South Second Street. Any further discussion? All in favor, please vote by the sign of aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Item L, deliberate and act on resolution 2025-58 concerning a dangerous building or premises and require removal located at 204 South First Street. Mr. Mestis, did you want to introduce that? Or?
Mayor Pro Tem and Commission, in your packet is Resolution 2025-58 addressing the condition of the property at 204 South First Street. Based on inspections and legal notice, the structure constitutes a public nuisance and safety hazard requiring removal under applicable city code. The city recommends you vote in affirmative on this action. Mac?
So it's not the full premises of 204. That's the property that's right on First Street. It's only the structure that is on the southwest corner of the property. The rest of it doesn't qualify under the ordinance, but in the structure, it's colloquially known as the carriage house. It's part of the Coors building, what they used to bring the beer into, I guess. And so they I have pictures of that building as well, if you'd like to look. There's sections that are falling off on the roof, the corners. There's bricks that have already fallen off. You can clearly see that the corners are kind of splitting off, and so kind of at any time, it could fall away from the building, fall into the alley, potentially causing damage to property and to life.
This backs up into the alley, right? Yeah,
Correct.
right.
Correct.
And it's behind the Coors.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the front, or I guess the wall that's closest to First Street immediately abuts another property, and so if it fell, it could damage another
Poses a
property.
danger to
Yes,
that
to the other property as well.
What's Mr. Shart's reaction been to all of this? Is he,
I spoke, oh, sorry, go ahead.
go ahead,
I spoke to him last week. He was fine with us having this discussion. He doesn't agree that it's dangerous, but I invited him to come and address the commission and, defend the property. He didn't express any desire to do so and would say, well, we'll see what the commission says. So.
Did it sound like he's the least bit interested in trying to secure this or repair it, or just not committed to anything?
Yeah, I won't speak my opinion, but more basically in the conversation, he disagreed that it was dangerous, even though I pointed out that the bricks clearly are falling and the mortar is washing out. It's very visible. I said, well, there's lots of buildings around Raton that have that. Okay. But these do present a public safety issue, and so.
And we do have a letter from the fire department as well with that inspection and echoes those sentiments.
And the current residents of the Coors Building, Sandra and Shane, I think, are they okay with this being taken down?
Yes, yes. Shane was one of the first ones that alerted me to the mortar washing out of the bricks. One of the pictures is taken almost from his stairwell, and I think he's planning on using that back area perhaps for the patio. And there's a section of 3 bricks that looks like it could fall off tomorrow, right onto his proposed patrons. So,
Yes.
yeah, he was one of the first that brought this to my attention.
Yeah, good.
So in this case, where the present owner has the ability to either repair it or pay for this demolition, what's the city strategy?
Well, we're taking this one step at a time. This, would be a commission decision to spend the money to demolish the property. The strategy is clean, lean, and foreclose. And, this would fall very similar under something like that. I do believe it is a dangerous building. I do believe the longer nothing happens to it, the more in peril citizens are. So I think I would like to see the owner take care of this, but we also have a responsibility to public safety.
Well, I'm not denying that. It's just that this guy has the financial wherewithal to cover this expense.
Yes.
Yeah.
We have no business eating this. And if we foreclose it, then we need to have the intention of going after deficiency judgment, where there's cash settlement for the difference between what this piece of property is worth without the building on it and our actual cost in getting it down.
Right.
That it's not just we're gonna camp on this forever.
No, our intention is not to camp on this, but we need to take this one step at a time because he wants to see what the commission's going to do. Is the commission going to?
And I think he understood what we were gonna do.
Yeah.
And to say that we have other buildings that are in this condition
That's a non-argument.
it's a non-argument. That's, buildings are just like, cars. They last longer if you work to maintain them.
I'd say it's more of a concern now, knowing that there's a business with potential customers in that area that could be using that outside area, so. And this doesn't commit us financially to taking it down at this point.
Not
It
at
gives
this
the
point.
30-day notice and it declares it dangerous, is that correct?
And in my conversations with Mr. Schartz over another code enforcement issue, I would bet that he does not want a lien on his properties currently, because he did a lot. He did everything he could not to have a lien put on his property over a different issue, and so that is not something that he wants right now. I don't know exactly what his plans are, but he is very motivated not to have anything that would make it difficult to sell those buildings.
Thank you. Any further comments or questions from the commission? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
I will move to approve Resolution 2025-58 concerning dangerous building or premises and requiring removal located at 204 South First Street.
All right, I have a motion and second to adopt Resolution 2025-58. Any further discussion? All in favor, please vote by the sign of aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Item M, deliberate and act on recommendation of award for the animal shelter quarantine facility. Mr. Mestis.
Mayor Pro Tem and Commission, in your packet is the recommendation of award for construction of the animal shelter quarantine facility. 2 bids were received for construction. Archuleta Construction was the lowest bid for $284,000 plus tax. This project supports public health and animal control objectives by providing adequate isolation for intake and disease control. The procurement process was conducted in accordance with New Mexico Procurement Code, and the city recommends you vote in affirmative on the action. We have Mr. Little, and I don't know, Jaden, if you want to have any comments on this?
Okay, I'm sorry, I was. Mayor Pro Tem Commission, this project was designed using capital outlay funds from the state. We were awarded $180,000 a couple of years back, and then we have a pending award of $125,000. We have started drawing down the $180,000, just a dent into it. These funds combined would be just over $300,000, which would just barely be enough to cover the pre-tax amount of this intake and isolation shelter. So the city would have to cover an EGRT essentially out of the general fund because there is a funding shortfall based on the bids we received. We did receive 2 bids. They were within about 15% of each other, so we believe it to be a reasonably competitive bid and are recommending that we move forward with this project.
And we've also applied for additional grant money, correct?
We just last week submitted another grant application for the shelter to basically replace a bunch of chain link for the outdoor runs of the main shelter, to add a tube frame structure to cover those runs, and to replace the chain link in the outdoor areas as outdoor kennels, as well as provide power to some locations that can't currently have heat lamps and heated beds because they don't have power to them. That ask was around $230,000, and there's a chance that they will only fund a partial award, in which case we'd have to scale it back. But in the process of making those improvements to deteriorating infrastructure, we would also be addressing a bird issue to keep the bird. We'll be using a finer mesh chain link that will keep the birds from getting in and excrementing over everything.
And I'd also like to remind the commission that the commission voted recently to continue to have the animal shelter on the legislative capital outlay.
So there are a handful of things that you should be aware of. I mentioned one, the most recent award of $125,000. We're working to get an executed agreement on that, so this award would have to be pending that, as well as we had authorized a formal design on the shelter for the main shelter that we're seeking more funds for. But in the process of this design, we were originally targeting trying to spend only about half of the funds we knew we were going to have available, but the design kept growing for ADA considerations and other inputs and requirements from the various stakeholder groups that are involved with the shelter. And so the costs and the size of the intake and isolation shelter grew to the point that we foresaw it in time that we hadn't started the designs on the larger shelter, so we haven't really expended any effort or funds towards that. We would have to basically cancel that purchase order for those services, and that's all been discussed up front, and everyone's well aware.
So the Humane Society has been involved with this now with the.
That's correct. We've had several meetings with the Humane Society and have implemented a lot of feedback from them.
Any further questions?
I'd like to see what we're paying for. I think I'd already talked to the city manager. I wanted the drawings on this thing.
That can easily be arranged. Yeah, I could go print some right now.
See it before we vote, if you don't mind.
Okay.
Well, how about,
Is that a motion to postpone?
yeah, that sounds like a motion to move that item down.
I guess the other question I have, and Jayden, I don't know if you can answer this one or not, but if this is a work in progress type of thing, is this subject to the change up if the county gets their tax rate increase?
It would be, we would be on the hook for whatever taxes are in effect at the time that the construction was completed.
Okay. I just, like I said, I feel more comfortable with more information. Picture's worth 1,000 words. That's what I kind of alluded to you before.
Are you able to get that now or?
I can print it off pretty quickly, yeah.
Okay. Let's
You
move
don't
this,
mind, I mean.
sure, let's move this item down to before the city manager report, so we can have time to look at plans. Is that,
That could be a few minutes to
give
do.
you a little bit of
Okay.
time?
Okay, I'll get on it.
We'll delay that. So we'll lay it on the table. Motion to lay that on the table. Okay, item N, out-of-state travel for Director of Community and Economic Development Cynthia Molina to Southern California from October 10th, 2025 to October 27th, 2025. Mr. Mestos.
Mayor Pro Tem and Commission, the city has been delayed, so that the city would like to postpone this action.
Okay. Do we have a motion to postpone?
I move to postpone.
Second.
Okay, motion to postpone. And a second. All in favor to postpone, please vote by the sign of aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Item O, deliberate and act on resolution 2025-59, in code fiscal year 25, final end of year adjustments. Mr. Mestos?
Mayor and Commission, I yield to Raton City Chief of Staff, Ms. Michaeline Antonucci.
Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem and Commission. I am in the process of completing our final end-of-year close within our accounting system. So our accounting system carries over July, August, September. And so once I kind of hit the button, upload everything with the new budget, then we essentially are starting the new fiscal year in our system. So it's really just a procedural issue, but as we started to close out the bank accounts with New Mexico Bank and Trust, we were still incurring some of those bank fees on these final accounts that we were closing out. So we didn't originally have that in the final budget for FY25. So we are requesting your approval to adjust those particular line items before we do the physical closeout of our system. So those would be the final budget adjustments for the FY25.
Any questions from everyone? Entertain a motion?
We'll move to approve resolution 2025-59 in code FY25 final end of year adjustments.
Second.
All right, I have a motion and a second to adopt Resolution 2025-59. Any further discussion? All in favor, please vote by the sign of aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Item P, deliberate and act on Resolution 2025-60, August 2025 financial reports. Ms. Antonucci.
Mayor Pro Tem and Commission, we present to you this evening our financial report reconciled as of August 31st. You will see in our financial summary that the ending cash balance was just shy, a little bit over 5 million, leaving you an available cash balance accounting for our 1/12th reserve and the $1 million CD that will mature in January. So your available cash is $3,366,970. I've also detailed for you the ending cash balances and the remaining funds. You will see that we also, for the month of September, did receive another good GRT distribution, which puts the city at 4% above our general fund budget projection year to date. As we've talked in the past, this puts us in a good position heading into the winter months as we start to see GRT taper off a bit. Cannabis excise tax was also higher compared to previous months, and the gas tax, unfortunately, is still trending downward. You had mentioned earlier in the meeting with the approval for the DOT project, you'll see in my budget adjustment, I am showing the transfer for the match coming out of the gas tax fund. But, you know, if we don't hit those projected revenues, if that project was to start this fiscal year, which it's possible that it wouldn't start till next fiscal year anyway, we'll monitor that closely. But if for some reason we're not able to meet our match obligations, since we do have several DOT projects going on this fiscal year, I would probably have to bring to you another budget adjustment to come out of the general fund. So.
Oh, that's my mistake. I had read it general fund reserves, but it was the actual special revenue reserves that it was.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
That's okay. There was one reconciling error that I've noted in your financial report for $48.69. This was due to the timing of a credit card payment, which with the city's new credit card, those payments are automatically drafted, and then we have to post the actual through accounts payable to the correct line items. And so that did not occur until the month of September, so it kind of threw our balance off by that amount. But we have since posted it through AP, and so it'll be correct for the first quarter report before it's submitted to DFA.
When you, did you get a response to your question to Tax and Rev on this gas tax about?
No, I have not. I emailed our liaison after the last commission meeting and gave him an updated report and told him that we're still very concerned. He just is sending it to some special tax division within Tax and Rev that still has not received a response. So I'll kind of keep hounding him, you know, hopefully. I mean, I would at least like to know that they've reviewed it and can assure us that there's nothing, you know, going on within Tax and Rev. I mean, they certainly aren't going to discuss any specific businesses' remittance of tax with me, but, you know, we know that gas prices are, you know, a little higher here than within the region, and we know that that's probably affected it significantly, but when you really look at the 3-4 year trend, I mean, we're down significantly. And so, you know, the only thing I could see is we haven't lost any stations, but stations have changed ownership. And so I just want to make sure that there's not something going on within the reporting that only they can see on their side.
Well, it makes it a little peculiar, and I know they're not related, but the lodger's tax, granted the trend is slightly negative, but nothing to the extent of gas tax.
So hopefully I can have a response from them soon, and I'll report that back to the commission as soon as I receive it.
Thank you. Any further questions for Michael on this report?
Is there any way we could reach through Placer AI and just see if that's a demonstration of less activity in these stations?
It's a great question.
It will measure the traffic at that station now. It'll measure people who are pumping gas and buying burritos and buying coffee. So it will be kind of hard to differentiate who's going there for food or who's going there for gas. But yes, absolutely, we can get Placer AI information on that.
I mean, it could be a tell that, okay, it is a for real trend or.
Like I know that there's probably a few gas stations where I think their snacks are probably more limited than,
Right.
you know, other places where.
It would be telling, I think, to see the activity versus the past of activity at gas stations, irregardless of.
Right. Whether the alarm is just an accounting issue with TRD or if it's really a real life situation we need to concern ourselves with.
Yeah. Thank you. Any other
We can-
comments? Entertain a motion?
I will move to approve resolution 2025-59, no, we did that. -60, August 2025 financial report.
One second.
All right, I have a motion and a second to adopt resolution 2025-60. Any further discussion? All in favor, please vote by the sign of aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item O, deliberate and act on resolution 2025-61, fiscal year 26 budget adjustment number 2.
Mayor Pro Tem and Commission, we do bring to you this evening budget adjustment number 2. We just have some routine line item adjustments. We did receive, the police chief gave me a donation from the Sun Valley Rides Carnival for crime prevention programs, so I am requesting that we add that to his line item for crime prevention. Also, the airport project, our taxiway B project is well underway, and so we do have our first pay request from the contractor. So I'm asking that we do temporary transfers into our airport capital improvement fund pending the grant reimbursements from the FAA and New Mexico State Aviation. And then as soon as that project wraps up, we'll go ahead and reimburse the general fund before the end of the fiscal year. Also, with your approval this evening of the DOT agreement, I've gone ahead and put that into the budget adjustment. And as we just discussed, the match would be coming out of the gas tax going into the Fund 305. And that's all I have for you as far as budget adjustments. Stand for any questions?
Any questions for Mike Lynn?
I'll move to approve resolution 2025-61 FY 26 budget adjustment number 2.
One second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second to adopt resolution 2025-61. Any further discussion? All in favor, please vote by the sign of aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. We'll return to item M, deliberate and act on recommendation of award for the animal shelter quarantine facility, and I'll turn the time back over to Mac here.
Mayor Pro Tem, Commissioner, I apologize. I remembered that we needed pictures for the dangerous buildings, but I forgot to ask for your plans.
So Jaden printed out the plans. He's currently printing out larger versions. These are kind of small.
Yeah, let him know this is sufficient.
Okay.
Good, while we're waiting on Jaden. He gave us a pretty good summary of the 2 grants that we have, including the notices of obligations that have been issued against the 1 grant that we are currently drawing down on. I did want to mention that both grants have 1% allocated to art in public places. So the total of those 2 grants, $3,050 is going to have to go towards art of some type. So we would not have those funds. And then until we reallocate the one notice of obligation that we did to Alpha Design for the design of the project, I was showing a shortfall of about 93,000. But if we were to reallocate those funds towards the quarantine facility, we'd probably be short closer to 16,000. So we would have to do a budget adjustment at a later meeting once we figure out the exact math on that.
Your guesstimate of what that total adjustment would be or shortfall would come up to what?
It was just shy of $16,000, so it was like 15,800 something. And then, of course, you brought up a valid point. If the county's gross receipts tax is raised, it's going to affect the city's GRT rates, so that would increase the amount that we would need to cover.
My number is that GRT right now is standing at almost $24,000.
Yes, the GRT was about 24,000.
Yeah, so it jumps this thing to 307,000 with the tax.
Yeah, I think the bid plus tax was 307,453.57. What I did was I just tallied up the amount of the two grants. I subtracted the notice of obligations that we've already approved. We also had the water department for the water line extension. We had a notice of obligation with them, which left 213,585.39 available, less the bid gave us the shortfall of 93,868.18. But since we haven't expended the design funds, they were $78,040. So the difference is like the 16,000. So it's slightly less than the tax that we calculated.
Question for Mr. Little, though. This facility, how well would it fit in a few years down the road if the other facility's built? I mean, the whole scheme of...
It's a detached structure, so, being an isolation facility, it can be argued that it needs to be detached.
Right.
It's hard to design the buildings now, this isolation facility, not knowing what the future shelter is going to be. Is that what you mean?
Yeah. But I mean, for the overall plot plan, though, it fits and accommodates the expansion at a future date.
I believe on the first page of what you have, it shows the site plan, it shows the location being up in that northeast corner of the property with the anticipation that it frees up more of the site. But again, we don't know where that new facility is going to, the new shelter that's not yet funded will be located on this.
I guess the other question I've got in this situation, though, how far along, Jaden, are we with the design of the other part of it?
Being the new larger shelter.
Right.
We basically paused as soon as we realized that the construction of this project was likely going to exceed the available funds. If we were to go forward with that design, we basically did not proceed with that design. And so as far as we got, we had one discussion probably about, talked about maybe 3 different locations that we could put the main shelter, but that's about the extent of those discussions.
But doesn't that kind of limit us, though, if we don't let Alpha Design produce the rest of it to where now we've got a picture to show somebody with funds to say, this is what we want to build and this.
What we designed for the intake and isolation shelter ended up taking up a much smaller footprint than we thought we were going to need going into it, because we thought there were going to be expansive outdoor runs and whatnot. And with us putting it in the, I guess, northeast corner there, it basically is the best location we could possibly put it and the smallest footprint it could possibly take. So it actually leaves us several options for the larger shelter project when the time comes for that. Just like they're building the Clayton interchange, they're redoing that right now, not knowing where I-27's coming in. They're doing it in a way that's compatible, should it come in there. We went through a similar exercise with this shelter.
And don't get me wrong, I mean, I agree that yes, we need this facility. It's just that I don't wanna see us shoot ourselves in the foot by pulling the design funds and not let Dave produce that, so that come the next legislative session, Rick has something to take down there to buttonhole folks and say, now this is why we need these funds, because here's what we want to replace our existing fire trap with. And I think that's where we need to go, the whole safety thing. Now, if you love your dog, do you want him barbecued because he got picked up by the dog catcher?
And had we proceeded with the design of the larger shelter, that would have been done in conjunction with this design. This design would have still placed it in the same location as we have it now. I don't know that that would impact it. But you're right, we just don't have the funds to do both right now.
Well, I mean, we do, it's just that the general fund takes a little bigger hit in all to allow the final designs, or at least something that looks a little more presentable, so that when we go ask for money, we're not empty-handed.
And Dave, feel free to speak up as well. I'm not trying to.
I would like to add, if it's just some preliminary plans and maybe some extra elevations that no one's committed to, my office could do that at no cost. There's a lot of unknowns that we've started to discuss but haven't resolved, particularly how the new facility, is it an addition to the existing? Does it completely replace the existing? I don't think that's something we want to get into today, but that's something that we would probably need to get into if we were to prepare those preliminary designs for funding purposes. But at this point, I just want to offer that we can do those preliminary designs at no cost if it doesn't get too detailed or too bogged down in those kind of decisions.
Commissioner, also, I want to remind the rest of the commission that the urgency about this isolation shelter was due to a number of outbreaks. Donna, how many outbreaks were there?
2 that I'm aware of. There might have been more that were not disclosed to anybody, but at least 2.
Yeah, and that's recently.
Right, but I guess the point I'm getting, because I'm in favor of doing this, and my opinion's always been postponing has a cost. Things are not gonna get cheaper, or the county's gonna, like I said, that's a classic example, just sales tax jumps, and we waited, and boom, we get to pay for that too. But my point is, I mean, I don't wanna send Lori, Neil, or Rick down to Santa Fe without some kind of preliminary design so that we can document our ask for, this is why we need this money for this facility. It's in the design stages now, not a hope and a prayer.
And the original design was, we're shooting for shovel-ready. We wanted construction-ready documents. Dave has graciously offered to prepare some sort of a conceptual design at no charge. I don't know whether, maybe there's some middle ground that we can just reassess the, go after some intermediate level of design maturity, and at a lower cost, since it'll be coming out of general fund reserves, and maybe that's a negotiation that we could start to have now.
Because like I said, I don't have an issue with if we have to tap our general fund for a little bit more, because if we postpone this, it just costs us more. The repair of this building is a classic example of that. So it's like, do it now, don't wait. But here again, I mean, if we're gonna be taken seriously in Santa Fe, like I said, I mean, because when I saw this in our packet, it's like, okay, he's telling me a car without me looking at it. You know, that's why I want supporting documents for money spent like this. not that I'm an authority on it, but I want to see what we're spending our money for. So, I mean, but like I said, I think if we're gonna keep asking, let's do it with some intention that it's like, yeah, we're serious about this. You know, we've gone that extra mile to get some collaboration between all the different groups and get a preliminary design in place.
Sure.
This kind of thing, to where when we need to pull the trigger, we can.
All right, anything else?
I'm
Commissioner?
done.
Okay, Commissioner Schuster.
So, my question is, how much work is it between a conceptual design versus a shovel-ready design? How quickly can you get a shovel-ready design?
That's a question for Dave.
At least several months. There's a lot of different engineers that would have to be involved, and those engineers are not local. It's
Yeah.
a drawn-out process compared to just a conceptual design.
And how likely, because this is a short session coming up, I believe, isn't it? How likely would we be to get those funds?
Well, we got funds in both sessions for
Right.
this. So I think we got 125 the first session, was it?
Yes, 125,000 and 180,000.
So
So did we do that? I mean, did we have shovel-ready designs?
No.
Both times?
No,
So
neither.
a conceptual design might be adequate to get the funds?
absolutely.
Okay.
Well, and I think, Commissioner Schuster, those conceptual drawings may have to be used multiple times, because if they dribble it out,
Right.
it's gonna need to be shown
Yeah.
several times before.
Which is what they tend to do.
Yeah.
It's
But I mean, but
Yeah.
at least we got something to show them and say, this is the direction we want to go, so on and so forth.
Right.
So it sounds like we would encourage the staff to work on a conceptual design with Mr. Little, who's so graciously offered, so that we do have something in our hand when we discuss capital outlay with our representatives. And let's return to this item on the agenda, the award for the animal shelter quarantine facility bid. What is the will of the commission?
I would move to approve the award for the animal shelter quarantine facility.
And would you mind stating to whom?
Oh, sorry.
And also contingent upon the execution of the,
I believe
Okay.
Archuleta Construction of Maxwell, New Mexico. The bid for $284,000 plus tax.
and contingent upon the 125,000 execution agreement? Is that agreeable to you? Sorry.
Yes,
Okay.
correct.
Thank you.
Very good, thank you.
Okay, I have a motion and a second to approve the recommendation of award for the animal shelter quarantine facility to Archuleta Construction, and on contingent upon the execution of the agreement for the funding, additional funding. Any further discussion? All in favor, please vote by the sign of aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much. Thank you, Jaden, Mac, and everyone, and Dave, thank you so much. Mr. Mesta, City Manager Report.
Mayor Pro Tem and Commission, bottom line up front, the Mayor Pro Tem Chatterley, Commissioner Schuster, and I attended the New Mexico Municipal League annual meeting in Ruidoso last week. The conference was valuable and gave us an opportunity to learn how the city responded to back-to-back disasters of fire and floods. Mentions and dispatches to Deputy City Manager Jason Phillips for enduring a surprise OSHA inspection last week, all while covering for both the city manager and chief of staff. Public Works crews have been patching, brooming, and sweeping streets to prepare fog seal. Fog seal operations will begin tomorrow. Police are recruiting for 5 officers and 3 dispatchers. Fire, several members successfully completed intensive training last week through the Fire Academy with 8 other agencies here in Raton. Our senior center oven ventilation is making progress, and we will soon be putting together a bid. With facilities, aquatic chairlift is broken and needs replacement. We're working on that. We hope to have a new one ordered soon. The clerk, reminder that all posters and notices must be cleared through the city clerk office. Our economic development Director Cynthia Molina is in Santa Fe attending the 2025 Governor's Conference on Economic Development in Albuquerque. Finally, closing thoughts. I know a lot of people have said, and it's been said to me that Raton is fading, that things are falling apart, but don't believe that. Today marks the anniversary of the Battle of Flamborough Head in 1779, when the American naval commander John Paul Jones stood his ground and famously declared, "I have not yet begun to fight." He said that in face of overwhelming odds when surrender seemed like the only option. But he didn't give up, and neither will we. For years, we've watched jobs disappear, business close, and our infrastructure age without investment it needs. At times, it feels like the world has forgotten us, but here's one thing. We're still here, and like John Paul Jones, some 246 years ago today, we're not done fighting either. That's all I have.
Thank you. Anything else from the commission? Commissioner Honeyfield?
I guess the only thing I want to bring up, our plan B for this penny site, once it's down.
Well, Plan A first. At the next commission meeting, we're going to discuss the plans for the El Portal lot. And then we're going to pick one plan and have two leftover plans. Do we want to transfer one of those leftover plans to the J.C. Penney lot? Or what do we want to discuss? But that's a discussion for the commission.
I guess the only thing I would suggest, if we could approach Phil Long and just ask him to possibly consider using that site all the way down to the in-bank building for their overflow for their fleet vehicles that they upgrade here, at least make the space look full.
That can be a discussion on the agenda.
Discussion,
But I mean, if the city manager would just make an inquiry, maybe they're
I can do that.
not interested at all, but
It's good to know if that's an option.
yeah.
Anything else?
That's it.
Commissioner Schuster?
No, I believe I forgot some details of my report, but I think we're just gone.
It happens. I do not have anything to add, and if nothing else, this meeting is adjourned.